welcome back to my garden. In today's video we are going to be planting up a beautiful summertime container, you guys. I'm very excited about this container in my garden. I'm currently transitioning my garden from its beautiful spring display that it had over to its summertime display. You guys, we have had temperatures in the 90 degrees, and when you have temperatures that transition from the cool 60s, 70s, and then immediately into the 90s, it can literally just take your containers out like that. So a few of my containers have been planted up, you guys, since the beginning of March, and they're looking tired. I have a beautiful terracotta pot, and it's just a typical terracotta but still beautiful, and I like it because it's very, very deep. And don't worry, even though it's a plain terracotta pot, I'm sure that the plants that I'm going to have mixed in here is going to give us an elegant design that's going to look so beautiful as it's gracing the table in the garden. So let's go ahead and get started and plant this beauty up, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the beautiful plants. So with all of my containers, I like to use two and or different things. Sometimes I'll use chicken wire that has the smaller holes, and then I'll also use a coffee filter on top of that, or I'll use some mesh from the screen, you guys. And so what that does is it prevents the soil from falling out of the bottom of the pot. Now, we all know that these coffee filters are degradable, so we definitely know that it's not going to be a long-term fix, but it's going to give the soil a chance to conform to the bottom of the pot. Now, let me show you how big the hole is in the bottom of this terracotta pot. Come on, you guys, let's go take a peek at it. So you see how large this hole is right here? So if I were to put soil directly in here, it's only going to come out. So I'm going to come in, and in this scenario, I'm not going to use the mesh. Put this in the bottom of it, and you can use a little bit more. All right. All right, now you're going to be able to see this planter from different angles in my garden. So I am going to have a central centerpiece. Can you guys see how I'm building this out? We came in with a silver element here, right? But we're not done. And keep in mind that this is a tabletop container that I would like to call a twofer. So as this container grows out, you're going to continue to pull. Now, as you guys can see, we have some areas down in the bottom where we can't see anything but pot. We don't want that. So we're going to go in and we're going to continue to stuff this planter. So I'm going to come in here, and let me turn the pot a bit. I'm going to come in and I'm going to add my silver here, okay? So I want that beautiful layer effect, okay? So we're done with this container. Now, this planter is stuffed, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to water this container in. It is going to be sitting on a saucer because the table that it's sitting on does not have open grates. So I am going to sit this container on a saucer. Now this container is going to take a little bit of maintenance as well, because the geraniums as well as the Shasta daisies, I am going to have to go in and I am going to have to just deadhead the flowers as the season goes along. But the more you deadhead, the more blooms you're going to be getting, you guys. Now if you enjoy content like this, I put out content like this at least once a week. So go ahead, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. I planted this arrangement up yesterday. I've been going outside and I've been looking at the arrangement to see if it's going to fit with the color scheme in the area. And although it has those purple hues, you guys, it's not really giving the way I wanted it to give. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to plant up the 2 concrete urns that flank that area. And as I'm back there planting, I'll get this planted up the way I want it to be, and then I'll go ahead and decide if the planter will be able to stay. So these are the concrete urns that I want to get planted up in this video. So you guys, let's go ahead and let's get these babies planted up, and then we'll talk about the plant selection, and then we'll move on, and then we'll take a look at this container. Both of the urns planted up and they look really good. The look is very cohesive with the rest of this area over here. But I want to make sure that my container that sits on my table doesn't look like a one-up. So in order to do that, I have to make sure my colors are in harmony. And what we're going to do is we're going to just make a simple tweak to this container, and it's not going to take much to do it. Now, I do have some plants over there on the table because, like I said, I had been going back and forth with if this container was going to be able to work in this area, and the more I looked at it, the more I knew that this would not work. But I also knew that it would look great in another area of my garden, according to how I have everything planned out in order to be planted this season. Now, let's go ahead, run over, grab these plants, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what we're going to switch everything out for. You guys, look at this beauty here and how beautiful this looks. So, what we're going to do is we're going to use a Shasta daisy. We're going to pop the geranium out. By us going in with the Shasta daisy, what it's going to do is it's going to give the container a more of a cohesive look, and I think it's going to look better. So let's get in, and then maybe you guys will be able to see how bright this color looks now that it's out in the sunlight. So even though when I picked it up at the garden center, it looked like it would be a perfect fit for this area over here, when you're looking at colors, it's all about how does that color play into your garden, where you're going to have it setting at. And we're not trying to create an illusion here. We want everything to look just as it is. We want it to look beautiful. We want it to look gorgeous. But you guys can see clearly this stands out against the other colors here. Now, if I was looking for a great contrast, that would be perfect, but I want this area to come together in complete 100% harmony. You guys, this is definitely a statement piece and I am loving it. I mean, if you guys think about it, we went in and we're really just using the green and white from this area. So in this area, you'll definitely start to see more white. And as you guys can see, we have a beautiful hedge of allium bulbs, you guys. I mean, it's just how I envisioned everything out when I sat down and I started planning out my garden for the season. Now, let's go ahead, let's talk about the plants that we put inside of the concrete urns. There's a spike grass in the middle. We also went in, we used the Supertunia Vista White. We used the Supertunia Bordeaux. We also use Superbena Imperial Blue. You guys, and it definitely picks up on all of the colors and it's catching the vibe that I wanted for this area. Now, I'm very excited. Now, with the ingredients for the container here, very simple. A very beautiful green, white, and silver container. Now, these components are easy to find. Sometimes you see these beautiful containers and you head to your local big box store or your local nursery. You're very excited and you're unable to find these ingredients. But my friends, my gardenaires, I am here to tell you, these ingredients can be sourced at any local big box stores or your local nursery. I'm going to start off with a spike in the middle, and then you want to come in with the Dusty Miller. In addition to the Dusty Miller, you want to add a Diamond Frost Euphorbia. And then I added a fiber optic grass, which just gives it that aerial feel, very flowy. The fiber optic grass really just takes the arrangement over the top. And while it's a heavily weighted piece, when you get to the ends, you see those little fiber optics where I believe it gets its name from. And it makes the plant just so gorgeous when really it's just a graceful grass. For my heavy weighted plant, I went ahead and I used a Shasta Daisy. And the one thing I love about Shasta Daisy, you guys, I have had Shasta Daisies in my garden with snow on top of them. These Shasta Daisies perform. Now, one of the things about the Shasta Daisies, you want to make sure they don't dry out. You want to make sure you fertilize them. But sometimes when it gets too hot, they will go through a little bit of a lull, but don't fret, don't pull them out. The heavy weighted texture, the green texture that we have here is going to go ahead and continue to perform when you're waiting for those blooms. And then when you go into the fall time, you guys, it is going to just perform like nobody's business. I'm so glad that I pulled out the geranium. And although it was a beautiful container and it gave me the look that I wanted it to give, but it just was not right in this area. So rather force it out. Isn't that a conversation piece? All right, you guys, until next time, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.